Get on the mic.
For a single page.
Just use the mic.
Yeah. Okay, sure. I've been directed to use the microphone. That'll be good. All right, so I'm giving you a minute. Write down as many uses as possible. This is a competition. There's a lot at stake. Street cred is what you'll get, and you'll also get to maybe keep your paperclip. All right, how did you do? Has anyone got more than 10 uses for the paperclip? No? We've got 7. Can anyone beat 7? Over here? 10. All right, 10. Right. So you're probably as gifted as a child right now. Hey. This is a good thing. And it's a concept called divergent thinking, which as adults we sort of regress from. So the best people at this activity are children. 30, 40 uses for a paperclip. You know, fishing hooks and things like that, earrings. Nose cleaner, I've heard. I wouldn't go. You weren't there. All right. You've got 9 now. But what I'm going to talk about is innovation, and that's really the fuel for innovation. Trying to do something different and trying to create value from something that you look at every day. And I'm going to apply it to how we can innovate in training. So, topic innovation. What next? I'm not next. Just by me, just came out like that. Okay. Question to engage people, because apparently this is what we're meant to do as educators, engage people. And when I used to lecture at university, I found it really hard to talk to a room full of bodies where it was one way. So please, talk to me. Answer this. Quiz night. Who invented the telephone? Mr. Bell. Any other takers? No, we're locking it in for $1 million. Okay. All right. No one actually knows. All right. And if you Google this, you'll say most people consider Alexander Graham Bell as the inventor of the telephone. But there's a lot of controversy. There's even a book written about this, which I've never read because it doesn't look that exciting, but feel free. Anyway, Cliff's notes of the book, a lot of contenders for the telephone. Apparently there's a patent issue and so on, things like that, right? But at the end of the day, we've got a product. And an invention is we made something. Sometimes inventions don't have any value. Sometimes you make things that no one cares about, no one uses. So what I'm going to talk about is innovation. And the cool thing about innovation is you don't have to make something new. All you need to do really is just create value. Make something that people need, require, makes their life easier, faster, better, more efficient, whatever it's going to be. That's innovation. So when you get asked what's invention, making something new, great. What's innovation? Taking that one step further. And often people call it the combination of 2 ideas to make something new. So you don't even need to make anything new. You just combine 2 existing things for a new purpose to create value. So if I pose this question, especially to a child, they would know the answer to this quite well. If I said, who innovated the phone? Especially all the phones you've got in front of you right now, unless you've got the old school bricks, which, by the way, I love. You would probably get Apple, and you'd probably get this guy, right? I guess to a degree, yes, but really, it was the merging of 2 technologies, a computer and a phone. And for a lot of people, and I'm going to take you through a quick story of the telephone, for a lot of people, this is just mind-blowing. So if you went back in time to yourself 15 years ago, and I said to your former 15 back in time self, I'm using the DeLorean here, in 15 years, you're going to use a phone and a computer together. It's going to walk around with you, you're going to be able to get emails, alerts around the world. Would you believe it? Probably not. When the internet took off, the majority of people thought this is a fad. We'll just keep doing our own thing and just happily ignore this thing. Until a point, right? You get the critical mass and everyone gets on board. So, how fast does innovation occur? Well, it depends in different industries. This up here is a thing called Moore's Law, which pertains to the technological advances in electronics. So the rate of transistors doubles every 2 years, which it doesn't get 2 times better, it doubles, right? So you get double the efficiency, you can make things smaller, more robust, and so on. And different industries will have different curves. The thing that's interesting is that most technology does happen at an exponential rate. whether you know it or not. But your organisations that you work in tend to move more logarithmically. So they move a bit slower than technology. And if you think about it, because every technological change, the organisation has to adapt. It says, can we use this technology to make our business better? So every time there's a new technology, you make that decision, do we embrace it or not? Whether you're cognizant of that fact or not, by ignoring technology or forcing a decision because your competitors are doing it. So where does this leave us? Well, if we don't evolve, we stagnate and we get left behind. And what we were doing 15 years ago is currently obsolete. Put up your hand if you still have a phone from 15 years ago. Put up your hand if you have a phone that's less than 6 months old. And that's two people. That's a reflection of our consumer-driven society, which I don't love, but anyway, it's a byproduct of innovation. Each time innovation looks something like this. Right? You get these cool little curves. And you start off with an idea, something new, something that creates value. Some of them just fade away. But usually when they've got guts, when they've got grounds, they go through a phase of success. This could last 10 seconds. Right? And the dot-com boom is probably a good example of a short-lived thing. Or it could last indefinitely. You could get perpetual success. But generally it diminishes, and you get a bit of a plateau where it's no longer exciting. Even the laggards have taken ownership of play. What occurs behind the scenes when you're in that success mode is another innovation curve that's happening alongside it. So, for most people, the time to innovate, and if you think about yourself as education, when do we need to innovate? Yeah, when we stop getting students. When what we're doing just looks so old school and so backwards. For most people, that's it. It's a very reactive approach. But realistically, the time to innovate is a time where you're at the pinnacle of your success. It's sounding counterintuitive, but I'll give you an example. You know what this is? 10 years' time, it will be a much different response, right? I don't know what that is. Black box. Yeah, it's a plastic box with magnetic strip. Every house had one of these. Pinnacle of the success. What started happening? A rounding thingamajig came along. Still people go, what the hell is that? All right. That replaced that. But for people who invested so much, there's this huge, awesome theory called the sunk cost theory, if you look at that. But for people who invested in all their businesses, even consumers who bought huge collections of these things, you wanted to fight innovation. You wanted to keep the VHS. You wanted to keep it going. But alongside this little curve that said, yeah, here's something new, here's something shiny. In your mind, you thought, no, this will never catch on, it'll keep rolling. I'm going to throw some things out there. Have you heard of this thing called Uber? Yeah. 3 years ago, have you heard of this thing called Uber? No. I'm going to get an Uber 3 years ago. You're going to get a what? No, that just makes no sense at all. 5 years' time, I'm going to get a taxi. You're going to get a what? A taxi? Right? So this is what we call disruptive innovation. Right? It really ruffles the status quo. And I really believe this is happening in education, and it's poised for it right now. Quick story from the phone. So we started off with this dude, this was Mr. Bell. Then we started migrating, and you can see technology is improving. And this is what we call sustaining innovation. It's still doing its primary purpose. It hasn't made the primary, product obsolete. It's just making it better. Improving the functionality, the characteristics, optimising the product. Cool. Still optimising the product. Now we're getting remote proximity. There's still a phone. Purpose to make calls, right? And then we keep moving, sustaining innovation. It's happening, it's been happening in education for so long. Books are getting better, we're getting pictures, getting visuals and so on. But then something comes along and flips on its head. The example I posed earlier on, which is a smartphone. What is the primary purpose? Well, what do you spend 90% of your time on your phone doing? Something happens in the world of social media that I don't know a lot. Thanks, Wendy. She actually gave me a lecture on what Twitter was and so on, so I haven't worked it out, but it's out there, it's real, it's legitimate. But it's actually removed the original purpose of the phone, right? It's hidden it. And if you think about education, the primary purpose or our primary mechanism has been sustained. It's stayed the same for a long time. I'm sure we'll feature that later on. But something's going to come to throw it on its head. I actually saw you with your little watch thing between, and I thought this will never catch on. No one's going to buy one of these, but soon we're all going to have them because there's another curve happening. Soon the phones that we're like, man, this is a pinnacle of technology, it's not going to get any better. It's going to be, really, you were carrying that around? You were putting that to your head to make calls? So, in education, I said things have got a bit of a slower rate, different innovation curves. We had blackboards, to accommodate visual learners. We had whiteboards, to accommodate visual learners. And you can see massive progress here. And if you haven't seen one of these things, they're awesome. You can rub them out, just finish colours. Beautiful, beautiful. Then we've got smartboards. Who's used a smartboard? Yeah, a few people. I don't have the intelligence for it. I'm still a whiteboard kid, which I love. Lecturing at university was so much different when I was a student to a lecturer. People have got Wi-Fi, they're on their computers. They're watching YouTube videos whilst I'm explaining a subject. I actually had one guy actually refute what I was saying because of the YouTube video he was watching was different. And I was like, why are you here? Anyway, tablets learning and so on. And I'm sure some of you have seen this clip. I might have to jump to the computer to make it work. From the Matrix, awesome movie, right? Information downloaded in someone's head, automatically they understand something. A skill.
Sure.
Fact or fiction? Possibility or far-fetched? I'm never going to say no. Alright? But from what I said, it could happen, Alright. And at the end I'll show you something interesting. So what I want you to do is take 2 minutes, because innovation, organisation, put yourself as a recipient of your product or service, a student, an employer, industry, whoever it is, and answer this question for me. If you walked into your own business, what would it take to really make something awesome for you? Really shatter your experience that you went out there and told everyone about? Just put one thing down. Really think about it, because this is what we need to aim for. And don't put compliance down, just put something really exciting. You walked in and it blew your socks off. And no, they didn't get a cert board, they didn't get a diploma, they didn't even finish the course, they got something just utterly amazing. How am I going for time? Okay. Okay? Yeah. I'm just scared because it's been a very scary experience with bell ringing all the time. Literally scared. Alright. Anyone have anything sensational? What about Mr. 9 out of 10 / 10 out of 10 for the paperclip? Surely you've got something.
Yeah, so I pretended I was a student and I said connections that changed my life.
Perfect. Good. Alright, so you're building some connections that actually have an impact longer than the training course. And often for us as educators, that's really what we want to do. We want to make an impact that goes further than the training course. But a lot of times when we develop programs, we are, I guess, a sense of mytopia. We're short-sighted. We just say, okay, well, how can we get them through this course? How can we get people through this program? Who cares? How can we make them make their lives better? For me, I do project management training. How can I make their projects more efficient? How can I save them time? How can I save them money? How can I improve quality? For me, that's what I do to make my course exciting. It doesn't matter about the fancy videos and the notes and all that sort of stuff. It's how can I make an impact to people? Anyone else have anything they want to share? Anything exciting? Yes?
It'd be great if I walked in and my role was no longer necessary. No, because we've upskilled enough that it's not necessary to have my position here anymore. My country manager sitting behind me would say that's already happened.
I used to work at TAFE, and I ended up making my job as Director for Infrastructure Projects obsolete through delegation, through efficiencies and so on. And then I went to our CFO and I said, look, I don't need to be here, you can abolish the position. And she went through and she said, we'll lose FTE, we'll do this, we'll do that, let me think about it. And I was acting in the job. Next, I worked permanency. Honestly. And then I said, look, I'm going to have to resign. My parents thought I was just crazy. But for me, I was like, what's the point? So I totally get it. Yeah, that was my dream. Alright, so things that amaze some of our students. This is just a short little video. Don't worry about the audio, it's just a snippet of something.
So the benefits start to go down at the same time that the costs are going up. And what you'll find in every project is this point. In economics, it's a break-even point. It's basically where value is negligible. And that is because the benefits that you obtain are exactly the same as the cost required to get those benefits.
Right, so what I did, and this is about 2 or 3 years ago, we had for our online course, the worst online course ever, right? It was a 600-page manual, like a textbook which I've written. It was good substance, but that was our online course. Guys, log in, read the manual, answer the questions, give us your project documents. I mean, we do for everything that we do is practical based, but it was the knowledge, information we're giving people. And I thought, this isn't valuable. So we translated that into a series of, it's about 2 or 3 hours worth of these little short videos that the students could watch what was important to them. And for me, I'm a visual kid, and I'm the world's worst online learner, so I thought, how's anyone going to succeed online? How can we give them value? So I was trying to, I guess, replicate the workshop experience. Do you know how hard that is to do? What does that mean? I'm in trouble. That costs about $10 to do, right? And I've actually made a video on the Scope Training channel on how to do this. Our students love it. For them, they don't really care about anything. Like, oh my God, the videos are so great. I'm getting so much out of it because you're stimulating me to learn. So for us, that was our value thing. Very quickly, what a couple of other people are doing, making your job obsolete here. In South Korea, they've got robots that you actually practice your English to. And it looks a bit like it. It does. I think you're much more handsome. The orange is good though. So this is my theory, we're turning people into robots and robots into people. So, it goes along that theory. Microsoft, and this has been around since 2010, Microsoft has now made these little 3D goggles to let you learn anatomy. So you can sit in a lab and learn about the body and you can dissect things. It's all gross to me, but for people who do the human sciences, this is awesome. No more helicopters, and you can buy this for $150 on Amazon. It's a helicopter that you can use your brain, like the Matrix, to raise up and down and control using your mind. Crazy. Next step up. Have you heard of brain implants? Only in the movies, right? This is legit. Right? And if you Google brain implants after this, you'll probably be scared. They're chips that actually get inserted in the tissue of your brain to help you learn. They map neural pathways of people doing a certain skill. They implant it into your brain.
Where do you get them?
I don't know. Apparently Mr. Obama's actually trying to control a lot of this for military use, and there's a lot of health benefits and so on, but give it 10 years, this will be standard technology and scary as hell. I'm scared by this. But yeah, you'll be able to plug and play like the Matrix clip that we thought, no, this will never happen. Anyways, that's me. Bell's been wrong. We're all good. But just question what you're doing now. You question where you are in the curve and how else you can add value. And I think that will drive some really cool stuff for the whole industry. Done.
Thank you. On my time, can we have 2 questions? Timekeeper? Okay. Is there any question from the floor?
Yes.
Thank you. Up front here.
That was great. Thanks very much. I had the opportunity to go to Microsoft a few years ago, and they were developing technology for people with disabilities and trialling a plate that people with cerebral palsy or quadriplegics would insert into their mouth, and they controlled the web computers through their tongue. So it was just fantastic, really good. By the by, the question and sort of comment is, in places like the Pacific where there are, real developing needs and lack of access to ICT infrastructure, and lack of resources, including financial resources, to actually access this kind of technology, even though the ideas and the desire might be there, are we inadvertently creating another learning core as this technology zooms past them?
It's hard to say. I mean, technology does not replace good teaching. So, that's really the product. So if you've got good teaching practices, it's any form of technology. The challenges we face in a global marketplace is that a student in Fiji can access the internet and can access a course in Australia, the US, Uzbekistan, anywhere. So I guess when you look at innovation and competition, we're going a lot broader. So in areas where maybe the ICT infrastructure isn't that developed, maybe we can work within our constraints. How can we deliver value? What's our unique selling proposition against a global marketplace? Because innovate will be obsolete, but often that is the question: how can we stay competitive? How can we stay alive given what we have? The videos I was making, I seriously went to Bunnings, so people in Australia know what that is, and it cost me about $10. I got a piece of window from Gumtree, built a frame, and it's about an hour. I'm sure from going on the site visit yesterday, their handyman skills are a lot better than mine. They can replicate something like that. It doesn't need to be earth-shattering or groundbreaking. Just work within our means is probably my answer to that.
One final question?
Great presentation. I'm a bit disappointed that you think compliance is boring, but that's all right.
I saw your face, cringed.
No, I really want your opinion on this. One of the things that you're touching today, that sample or the telephone. That innovation happens because the team behind it has an in-depth knowledge about that technology. And because of that knowledge, they can actually see all the users. My concern in using innovation in teaching is if we give the tools to teachers that don't look into the instructional design process, we can get lost into the technology and thinking that can somehow make a shortcut in the instructional design process, and that is not true. Technology for us is a media, but it's just a media that we use to deliver that. And I don't know what are your suggestions to overcome that issue?
Yeah, I mean, my contention was, and it's shifting now, is that nothing would replace the workshop environment. Because for me, I feel that's where I add value to my students. We've actually noticed over a few years that the trends have changed rapidly. So the role going online and other sort of studies. So we thought we need to sort of migrate to that platform. And I was quite resistant to it because for me I was like, but the workshop, they can't learn this online, they can't do this. And I'm the first one to say I've actually been proved wrong. The feedback and the results we're getting from the online students are significant. And they're pretty basic tools. We use a Moodle, thingamajig, learning management system. So it's not anything super advanced. We used it because it was free and we thought, well, let's try it out. And it's been quite good. But one thing that remains to our core is we're not going to jeopardise the grade of our training. We want to try and give that to the students as best as possible. And I think you're right, we can fall into the trap of trying to jump on the next new thing and forgetting all the things that actually matter, the instructional design, the learner outcomes and so on. So I think it's a challenge and that we're wanting to bear. How can we sort of make it better, not just make it newer and shinier and more accessible.
Thank you, Nic. I think we'll leave it at that. Can we ask you to come and accept your term of organization?
Sure.
The co-chair. And a round of applause for Nic.
And that was a great presentation. Thank you, Nic. And I'm just thinking about where we are on our innovation curve as I go through this presentation. But believe me, we're always looking to do things differently and add value to many, many people.